Five-star chef Ivan Flowers is back on Big Blend Radio's Eat, Drink, Be Merry show today, and he's going to share how to make ricotta gnocchi alla Checca. I know he's going to teach us how to say that properly. Chef Ivan's recipes are featured in Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. You can see all of them. Just go to blendradioandtv.com, and his recipe for this ricotta gnocchi alla Checca is up on blendradioandtv.com now, and will be in the spring issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. Not only is Chef Ivan a chef, a five-star chef, he's also a teacher in Temecula Valley High School, and he has an awesome group of students. He's been telling us about them over the last couple years, and an amazing kitchen over there too. So, Chef Ivan, we're going to have to come visit you when we come through Temecula on our Love Your Parks tour, but welcome back to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I am doing wonderful. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing good. You know, it's sunny. It feels spring, like springtime here.
Nice.
What's it feeling like over in San Diego?
It's warm today. We had a week of rain, heavy rain, which, in Southern California is like having 10 feet of snow. People don't know how to drive in rain, so it's been crazy. But today's 72, sunny, and beautiful. Yeah.
That's what it's like here. Yeah, we're about to get there, too. We have spring wildflowers already, and this is going to be a super bloom in the desert, which is super exciting. And where you teach in Temecula, you guys in the spring get all those, on your way to work. I know you go from the ocean to inland to Temecula. You're going to have those, hillsides of poppies. It's going to be really pretty.
Yes.
Lupin. Yes.
Yes. Tracy was just talking about that the other day, how they bloom and the colors, and it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Oh man, so
how cool.
Let's talk about gnocchi, because we're doing this. Today's all vegetarian and vegan. Gnocchi. Yes. Okay, so pronounce the recipe again, so that someone's doing it correctly on the show.
It's ricotta gnocchi alla Checca.
Checca. Okay, so gnocchi, is this an Italian dish?
Yes. Okay. Traditionally, we look at gnocchi as a potato pasta, where you basically are combining eggs and potatoes and flour and making a dough. What we're doing here is we're not using potatoes. We're using ricotta, and we're making a ricotta dough.
Oh,
and then, it's completely different. Delicious.
Wow. Did you know it was going to be Cheese Lovers Day today? I mean, this is like the perfect thing.
I didn't, right?
See?
Right.
Wow,
timing.
You knew. I know. So you're using part skim ricotta, and then you also have eggs. You have grated Parmesan. So when we do this, okay, let's just start with the ricotta. How to pick out the right ricotta? I mean, it's pretty much when you go there, cause it's going to be, because it's in a container. We can't really go wrong because they're not like drying it up, right?
Yeah, use a good brand of ricotta. A top brand. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you get the excess water out. So take a little strainer, and maybe the night before, put it in a strainer and press it just a bit, and get some of that excess liquid out. So the ricotta is a little dry. You can use full fat. You can use part skim. It doesn't matter. Part skim just makes it a bit healthier.
And now, when you get to the grated Parmesan, you always say to get the fresh Parmesan, not the, that stuff that comes in the green thing.
Right. You want to use the Parmesan, have a piece, and grate it fresh right when you need it. This way, all the flavor, the creaminess, the butter, that buttery taste, that nutty taste comes out. You grate as you need when it comes to Parmesan.
And it's actually cheese,
right?
Because you can see that it's cheese when it comes in that little canister, and it's almost like a powder. That could be anything.
Right. Who knows? Right?
The Parmesan,
anything.
But the Parmesan, I'm weird. Like, I know, fresh Parmesan. I mean, like, I could eat a nice piece of it with champagne. There's just a thing about it being that and Gouda. I've got a really soft spot for really good Edam and Gouda cheese.
Yes.
I mean, in South Africa, that's what we lived on. Oh man, I want some now. Like, seriously, that creamy. Ooh.
They also make a soft Parmesan. That a lot of restaurants use. Yeah, it's a Parmesan that's actually softer, and you can cut into it full softer. It's very interesting, a soft Parmesan.
Oh, man. Okay, so now you've got dry Italian herbs. You've got flour. So does it matter what kind of flour? I
use an all-purpose.
Okay. Now, if
you want you want to go gluten-free, use
yeah,
rice
there
flour.
we go. Okay. We had that other cassava
It's from
flour.
a root.
A root.
It was a cassava root. I think it comes from South America.
Yeah.
And they make it into a powder, so it's flour from this root.
You
That
can
was
also
really...
use chickpea flour, which is made from garbanzo beans. There's a lot of different flours you can use.
Cool.
I see. And here in the Southwest, we use mesquite beans and grind them up.
Right? Why not?
Yeah. And
just like coyotes.
But you need to know how to source your beans. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, you need to know. You have to have the right ones. But now, let's go. Okay, you got the Parmesan. You got your flour, dry Italian herbs, 4 ripe Roma tomatoes. Because if you're going to do something Italian, it must be Roma tomatoes, right?
Yes.
Must. You must.
Yes.
And then fresh basil. Okay. And then you say fresh basil chiffonade. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes. You're just rolling it up and cutting it very thin, so it stays nice and fresh and doesn't get black when you cut it. And you just sprinkle it through. That's all a chiffonade is.
Okay. Now, this is interesting. So you can cut herbs, but lettuce you don't cut, right? Lettuce you use your fingers.
Yeah. Lettuce sometimes is funny. If you hit it with a knife, sometimes it can kind of taste metallic. So people like to use a ceramic knife, or they like to use their hands to cut it up. It depends.
Yeah. Okay.
I like to tear things up. It's fun.
I know. Well, that would be you. Yeah, and then throw things at people. That would be. That's how she does things. But that's good. But I love fresh basil. I have a thing about fresh basil and oregano.
Yes.
Oregano has to be in the dried herbs. Like even when I make chili, oregano has to be in everything.
Yes.
Oregano. And then you got olive oil. Does it matter what kind of olive oil?
Always use a good olive oil. I believe in using good ingredients. The base of Italian cooking is always a simplicity, but the best ingredients that you can get. So really good Roma tomatoes that are ripe, really good Parmesan, really good olive oil, the best lemons you can get, and let the ingredients do the speaking for you, because that's really all it takes. If you buy really good ingredients, you'll have great food. With your technique, and it'll come. If you buy cheap ingredients, it's, they have that pre-grated Parmesan out there that looks like little plastic straws and doesn't melt. And it's funny because you'll see restaurants use it because it's 2/3 cheaper, but it's not good. So you buy a good aged Parmesan. It's important. You get that nuttiness and that little peppery in your nose, and that it's aromatic, and it just works.
I don't think you have to use as much because the taste is still
flavor's there. Yeah.
And it's healthy. Parmesan cheese is very healthy.
So when we make the gnocchi, because I don't know why, but gnocchi. You're going to make gnocchi for your gnocchi. Okay. When you do this, there's like a fear factor to this. It sounds like we need to be a chef to do this. But when I was reading your recipe, and I know we've talked about it before years ago, how to make gnocchi, but there's still like, okay, this can be done. And the fact is, you roll this, you say, into a long snake. And we like things like that here, and so we can roll it. So it looks like fun. It looks like you could get the kids actually involved if this is like a family affair doing this, right? And making this big long snake and cutting it up and boil this, which is interesting. But can you tell us how to make this actual pasta?
Yeah, well, you're going to take the ricotta, the eggs, the herbs, and the Parmesan, and you're going to combine them as you do it per recipe. The big thing with this is when you're adding the flour. Okay, adding the flour is a feel. Here it says, you're putting in a quarter cup and then more. It's all by feel. What you're going to do is you're going to add flour. Once the dough, you can kind of pick it up out of the bowl. You go on your counter or on a board and you add enough flour as you're working it gently to where it comes together as a dough, and when you put your finger in the middle, it comes out dry. So that's not per recipe. Sometimes it takes more flour, sometimes it takes less flour for whatever reason, It could have to do with the amount of moisture that is in the cheese, how much water or moisture is left in the eggs. So you feel the dough, and that's really most of cooking anyway. A recipe is kind of like a framework, a parameter, but you're feeling it. And once that dough comes together, you feel it. And you don't want to work it too much because you don't want to develop the gluten where it gets too hard. And then once you roll it out, it's like a soft Play-Doh into that long snake. It just works. You can feel it in your hands. You can feel it in your fingertips. So the ratio of dough to to all the other ingredients is the whole dish. That's what's going to make it or break it. And it's the kind of thing that the more you do it, the better you get. First time could be, it's a little tough. Second time, this isn't so bad. Third time, it's like, I can do this. So remember that with flour, because flour does that. It's a feel.
I think you have to take your time, too, because if there's too much moisture, then it sticks to your hands. Mm-hmm. And then if you keep adding flour a little at a time and let it kind of mess in there a little bit, then that stickiness starts to go away. But if you go too far, now you get a nice big brick.
Exactly. I know. So basically, we like to
kind of like bread.
We like to play with our food, but this way we get to feel our food, and we like that. So hands in there. That's the thing about dough. We interviewed a lady,
it's fun.
about making, oh my gosh, the ciabatta bread? No, challah bread. Challah bread. And she was talking about the importance of just how it became a ritual for her. Beth Ricotta, she's a doctor, and she said she had to teach herself to make challah. This every Friday night she does it because it's like meditational. Mm-hmm. It calms her down, and so she tells her patients, "Go make challah. Get your hands dirty. Get into that dough and start working it." And she was just like, "This is those kind of things. You don't have to do that, but you know what I mean. It's like connect."
Yes.
Go ahead.
Is this does she make it for the Sabbath?
She makes it every Friday night now. She started doing that.
Is this challah? Are you talking about challah?
Thank you. Yeah,
yes,
there we
challah.
go.
Well, you don't say the H.
Ivan comes on the show to give us linguistic lessons here.
We've been in this country long enough to say things all wrong now.
I know. Challah bread. Mm-hmm. Say it again.
Challah.
Yeah. So
challah.
Hello. But she does that, and it's about this getting back into these traditions while we have this crazy world, and I feel like that's the same thing with this gnocchi,
it's how many people make their own gnocchi, and it's the easiest thing to do. And you do take your time with it. You do have a glass of wine, and you relax.
Ooh, that's right.
It's fun.
It is fun.
Absolutely.
I used to make a lot of bread, and I got so into it. I was like, okay, it's bread day. Whoopee, go make bread. And it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then I got to recognize like there was a satiny sheen, and now you can stop kneading now. Leave it be.
Yeah.
I like this that you have the cheese in here. That's cool. Like this is like making cheese bread in an interesting, different way.
Yeah.
Making this, but it's not
it's
bread.
Actually, it's like a little dumpling. You're doing a little dumpling.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had gnocchi before in my life. I've never had it.
When it's made correctly and it's not chewy and it just melts in your mouth, there's nothing like it.
Okay, we're gonna have to do this.
We're gonna make it.
Okay, yeah, just because I want to make a big snake in the kitchen, and then I'm going to send pictures of it to Steve, our Hollywood historian, because he sends me snake things all the time to mess with me. But okay, so now, but this is interesting. So you boil it in water. That's Well, that's a normal pasta thing, though.
Pasta.
Yeah, you let it float. It comes to the top. So as you're boiling that, you want to make your checca. Now, traditionally, checca is the aromas, the garlic, the basil, and the olive oil, and it's raw. It's not cooked. That's what it is traditionally. And you can add mozzarella to it. I didn't add mozzarella to this because we have Parmesan and the ricotta already in the gnocchi. So what I did, though, is I warmed the garlic just a little bit. I slice it and warm it in the olive oil just so it gets slightly cooked. And then when you're floating, you take them out, you strain them out, and then you go directly into the sauce. At that point, you toss it, salt and pepper to taste, and then I like to finish with a little Parmesan and maybe an extra, a little bit of more basil on top. And that's the dish. And then the gnocchi, at first it's got a touch of al dente to the bite, and then it's creamy and buttery in the middle. And then that sharpness of that Parmesan kind of kicks right through it. And then the ricotta just makes it really creamy. It's just very comforting, super comforting dish. And it's hard to just eat one bowl because you just want to keep going, you know.
Sounds yummy.
Would you make this for Valentine's Day?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And remember, you know, it's infinite. I mean, you can do so many different kinds of gnocchi because, you know, let's say you are doing, you know, you're doing the dough and ricotta and you want to add different flavors to it, or you're doing a potato gnocchi and you want to add maybe sauteed leeks, you want to add truffle, you want to add black garlic. There's so many things that you can add to it, different kinds of cheeses. Do a blue cheese gnocchi for a little bit of a bite. There were some times I would take a gnocchi, and when they were done, I would put them in ice water, and then I toss them in flour, and I would do a very light fry on them, like a frito misto, and then finish them with garlic, lemon, and Parmesan on top. Or you can do a little brown butter. Take your butter noisette with a touch of rosemary and just toss them, and then grate fresh Parmesan over the top with a touch of lemon. You know, it just goes on and on.
Wow.
But it's the texture. It's so important, the texture and the flavor working together. The mouthfeel of an gnocchi is very accepting. It's like eating pretzels or chips. You can't stop. You just want to keep going. When they're overdone, when they're not cooked correctly, it's a really bad experience.
I want the good stuff. So, can you take this and make it into like a sweet dish? Not necessarily the recipe you gave, but gnocchi, can it be like a sweet desserty kind of gnocchi?
Sure, absolutely. You can fold cocoa powder into it, different kinds of dragé nuts, different sweeteners into it. You can do dessert gnocchi, and you can do them fried. You can do them when they come out boiled. You can finish them with the crème and glace. It goes on and on. There's no definitions to that.
You could drizzle rum and chocolate sauce on them.
Oh, here she goes. Here she goes. Okay, but now, because when you go to the potato side of things, right, when you're using potatoes and not doing the same recipe we're doing now, do you still use eggs? And can you change it to sweet potatoes or like yams?
Absolutely. You can do sweet potatoes. You can do Peruvian potatoes, russet potatoes. You can do Yukon Gold potatoes, yes.
We could have those purple potatoes. Purple gnocchi.
Absolutely. Sure.
Oh, how fun.
Why not?
See, this will make kids get into it. Would this be something that you would teach in school, or have you?
Oh yeah, we've already had an gnocchi class. Yes.
Did they have fun with it?
We had them finish it in brown butter, and then we put fresh rosemary in, and then we grated Parmesan on top and finished it with a little Sorrento lemon and a little salt and pepper, and it was delicious. Delicious.
That sounds very good. Now, with this recipe, what would you drink with it? I have to ask. It sounds to me like there's nice, like white wine, or it just seems very not too heavy. This recipe.
No, I would do maybe a Sauvignon Blanc or a Viognier or a Chard with this. Would be nice. I do a light beer with this. I'm not into heavy beers. I'm not into craft beers. I do a rosé, champagne with this.
Could you use these in a salad instead of croutons? If
you fried them, you could. Sure. Why not? Like, for example, I used to do a fried eggplant crouton with salads. You can do a crispy gnocchi, and you can put it in with the salad.
Oh man, this is fun.
I like this. Now, I have another question. When you're talking about herbs like basil and such, I mean, we like to use fresh instead of the canned spicy thingies. But if you had to use the dried herbs, is the measurement going to be the same, or is there something? Can you reconstitute these dry herbs?
dried herbs are stronger, and once you put them in, they keep giving. So you don't want to put too much in. Fresh herbs you finish with. You're going to finish on the toss, and it just kind of gives right at the end. Dry herbs will keep going. So if you give too many dry herbs, it's going to taste too strong. It's going to overpower the dish.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we just got to be careful what you're buying. Get the quality stuff because some of it's weird.
Yeah, buy good
don't
stuff.
Buy,
it won't.
Get the good spices, the good herbs, because some of the spices it is sawdust. I know we talk about this on the show all the time, but I want to say it again. Like there's sawdust in our food. They put it as filler.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to eat that, man. That's not cool.
Yeah.
That's not cool at all. Nuh-uh. We get the good stuff wherever you can. Try and get local, and I see more and more people. Just there's independent, distributors of spices and things like that. And I think we should start looking more that way, just like what we do when we go to farmers markets or try to get local produce. I almost feel it's the same way when it comes to our spices and our dried herbs, is to get it as local or independent as possible too. Obviously, you have to check them out, but you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, there was a whole thing in Italy not too long ago where they're talking about, organized crime in Italy to make money was actually going into the food system, and they were not giving really good first press, good olive oil, not doing the real olives, the DOC, the Department of Control. The prosciutto wasn't really the prosciutto di Parma, San Daniele, so they were making millions of dollars by watering stuff down and not really giving, the real thing.
I remember seeing something about that, yeah.
Yeah, scary, right?
It's interesting, when we lived in Mexico, the spices came in little cellophane-like bags as dried leaves, not a powder in a tin. So you could see there's nothing added because all it is dried up leaves, and then you get to crush them.
Like how you get your chilies.
Yeah, you get to crush them yourself.
Dried chilies, yeah.
Yeah, and but for a fact there isn't any wood chips in there or sawdust because there's just leaves. But then when you buy them in a tin, you really don't know for sure.
No.
How much is the spice and how much is filler?
There's a lady we interviewed on just tea, she was talking about, people get tea bags and you don't know what's in your tea bag anymore. And I looked at some of these, herbal teas and stuff that are kind of mass produced, but when you research them, you'll find out that they're owned now they used to be nice, and it's like, these nice companies sell out to the others, and they're owned by people that are GMO, and you have to really watch. And this lady we knew, she sent us all her teas, and we had her on shows and everything, and she's up in Travis, Michigan, Travis County or something up there, and there's something going on there, man. They're doing a lot of farm to table, a lot of true grown organics, and she she couldn't grow everything, but she was checking out what she was getting in the lab, and she would buy from people that were certified organic here. She took it to a lab to really check for herself, and she found out half of it was not pure organic and half of it was coming from China. And she was like, we have to, how far do we go? At some point you just have to, trust. You can't go crazy, otherwise, you can't overstress yourself. But it's weird out there, man. So it just is.
It is.
It's weird. Yeah.
They're gonna, purveyors and stuff. Unfortunately, there's honest and there's dishonest. Like when I was doing a lot of seafood, if you go and you order fillets of fish already cut, you don't even know what you're getting. So, like for example, snapper. 85% they say is not really snapper in this country. They call it snapper. I would make sure that I would buy a Huachinango snapper or a red snapper, and I'd bring the whole fish in and then cut it that way. I wasn't going to say, or sea bass. Well, what kind of sea bass are you giving me? Farm to table where they know that they're buying, the meat right from the farms. They know what they're getting compared to something that comes in a package that you don't know if it's no-roll, select, choice. You don't know. So you bring it in whole, you break it down, it's time consuming, there's a lot of labor involved, but it keeps you honest and it also allows you to have integrity. Integrity is important.
It's interesting. I'm really, really deathly allergic to shellfish and fish. However, I can eat a can of tuna,
Yeah, thank God.
which
With
tells
chicken.
me
I love
it's not
tuna.
really tuna.
Yeah, we stay away from all of it, but yeah, it's interesting. So I wanted to ask you this because it is National Cheese Lovers Day.
Yep.
And I know this is a vegetarian show and vegan show, but if I want to know from you, Ivan, the desert island. You're going to a desert island. You get to take your favorite cheese with you.
Yes.
One favorite cheese
One
and
favorite
two
cheese.
other ingredients. It could be wine. It could be whatever you want with it, but you only get three things you can take to this island, and one of them is cheese. What cheese are you taking?
I would take a Cambozola with a crisp baguette, nice French baguette, and a nice buttery, oaky Chardonnay. Would
Sounds
make me
good.
very, very, very happy.
Would you take crackers or anything else with it, or you just eat the cheese and drink
right
the wine?
on the right on the baguette.
On the baguette.
cheese,
The baguette.
The baguette, the wine. That's it. That's it.
Okay, but tell me about this cheese because I can't even pronounce it. Of course, you know.
Cambozola is kind of like a blue. What is it like?
Oh.
And a brie?
Blue and a brie
Yeah.
got married and had a baby.
Yeah, like a blue and a brie got married. It is creamy, nutty. The blue comes
You can't
through.
say
It's
Tracy
got a-
and Ivan. No.
You can't say that
You
on
get-
our
it's
show.
hard
Yeah.
to find. It's hard to find, but it's an amazing, amazing cheese. The ride on your palate, and then that crispiness of that baguette. I mean, and it spreads like butter, and those little blues they pop out. And then I drink the chard a little colder than normal. I want the chard, a little. I might open up a coconut, maybe get a little coconut juice, mix it in there. I don't know what I would.
Ooh, but this
But
sounds.
that's what
this
I would
sounds. This sounds yummy, man. I love brie. I have a thing about brie. Brie and champagne, some strawberries.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Always make sure you get if you can get a Brie de Moulin from the Moulin region of France. Get a triple cream, and make sure that cheese sits out for an hour and a half before you eat it, so it starts to open up and run, and get. You want cheese at room temperature. You don't want cheese cold. It's like eating cold butter. It's got to sit out.
We used to have them in when I just remember growing up. Even in South Africa, it was hot, right? But the houses were built like we had Dutch doors, and so the air would come through from the top. So you have like half a door.
So did the horses.
Open, yeah. But you had we just lived in a very different way, and things were built, that you didn't have air conditioning. The old school places they knew it got hot, but the way houses were built, it was built with thought, not just throw up a little box on the hillside. And people would have butter in these glass, like a glass plate, like a butter dish,
Yes.
And they'd have it in the cupboard,
in the ice.
Yeah.
like kind of not
They
in the,
called it the ice box,
but it wasn't
refrigerator.
It wasn't an ice box. It wasn't a refrigerator, but it was like the cold part of the kitchen.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they would keep things like that, and cheeses too.
Yes.
Cheese was not put in the fridge.
Yeah.
When did that start?
I don't know, but I know the butter. You'd probably be okay. Cheese, cheese has to get a little cold there once in a while. That's
But
a
they
little
had the
chancy.
thingy. They had the wax on it.
But we didn't
The
buy
wax.
things to keep them forever and a day because you didn't have a lot of refrigeration, so you bought what you would eat in 2 days.
Yeah,
And the people came around, the vendor people used to come to your door
oh,
with
that's
these
Kenya,
big sacks of groceries and things like that. So even the bread
Mexico was like that. Mexico, the
Mexico's
bread
like
guy
that.
would come by to your house, and you'd be able, you didn't have to
and
go to the grocery
you
store.
could
Awesome.
smell the bread coming.
I know.
It was so cool.
And
You know.
that's like real stuff, freshly baked. Here it
Yep.
is. But
Yeah.
but the cheese, the butter was always kept out in these dishes, but that was real butter. But in South Africa, this is way back when. I'm talking about areas that were, they do have colder climates in South Africa, and obviously use the refrigeration. But you'd go to the store and your Gouda had the wax, like a real wax on it. Like you would buy like a whole thing of Gouda or eat them. Of course, we had cheddar and everything, but not like we had like what was sourced there. I don't
Very
even
local.
remember mozzarella so much when we were there. I remember just
There was the mozzarella was that soft, mushy.
yeah. Then they did
Right.
have Melrose cheese. Remember those?
Not the big hard, like here the mozzarella is hard in a ball. Over there, it was more like it was in water, kind of.
Yes, it was
Yeah,
in liquid.
mozzarella balls in water.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in a brine. It's in like a lightly salted water.
Yeah.
Delicious. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Very cool, man. I'm all excited now. I'm into
Yeah.
cheese. I want to go back on the road and eat butter, real butter and cheese, real butter.
Eat her way across America.
I know, man. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Everyone, Chef Ivan's recipe is up on blendradioandtv.com. Go see it. Just type in ricotta or gnocchi or Chef Ivan. You'll see all his recipes there. And will also be in the spring issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. Every recipe in this issue is either vegetarian or vegan. And there's recipes you wouldn't believe, like ice cream with Tabasco. Things like that. So there's and ice cream is vegetarian if you're eating dairy,
Sure.
So there it is. So there's all kinds of good recipes in there. So we have a cool song for you, Chef Ivan.
Oh, I wanted to
Go
just
ahead.
do a quick shout out, a little toast to my sister-in-law, Carol Phillips, who is eating very healthy these days. And watching what she eats and looking at local sourcing and stuff, Tracy and I are very proud of her. So I wanted to get that.
Awesome. Way to go.
Well, let's do a champagne toast. I know it's Sunday. We should still toast.
Yes.
I toast
Well, my
the
toast
cheese.
is to Carol Phillips.
Carol
like that.
Phillips
toast to her. And vegetarian. She's been a vegetarian for years. Her two doggies, Dottie and Indy. And I wanted to put it out in the universe.
I like that. I toast to Carol.
Yes. Thank you.
I toast
Me
to her.
too.
Yeah, and I toast to. I'm going to learn how to make gnocchi before we get on the road, and
Yes.
and then because hotel owners probably won't like me making it in the hotel room, right?
Hopefully the parks will be open by the time you start to travel.
Yeah, well, that we're covering every single type of park, and I'm really glad we decided that. And this was pre-shutdown because on our tour when we were doing the National Park Service, we're really focused on the National Park Service because here's our top tier, most protected parks. I mean, that's
Normal.
the top, right? And so we focused on that because we knew, the maintenance backlog, the funding issues, and all of that. And then as we traveled, we realized they're all in dire need. State parks, California went through that thing where they almost closed, 3/4 or 2/3 of the state parks, all of that. And so community parks, we're doing all the parks we can out here in Tucson before we get going, though we'll keep coming here. But you start to realize that. And I encourage everyone right now, go to the other parks. Don't go into in the national parks, if they're closed or open, and trash them. Don't cut the Joshua Tree down. If I ever see anyone cutting a Joshua Tree that's not supposed to, you know what? You know what I'm going to do with the Joshua Tree thing that you cut down. You know where that's going. I'm just saying. That's it.
I get you.
I had to go there. But, and I just want to I want to toast, and I did this last Sunday, to every person that is out there volunteering in the Park Service and volunteering in food kitchens, volunteering and doing really cool things to help the federal workers, the park rangers. There's so many federal workers in all levels. So I'm not going to get into politics of it because everyone can take sides. I mean, that's not what it's about. For me right now, it's about help the people that are affected.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Nancy, you've got a toast here.
Okay, I would like to toast to acting mature and thoughtful, compassionate, and use your brain. So if you're going to go travel and go into a park, don't be an idiot.
Amen.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Just don't. I am very convinced that most of us here on Earth know right from wrong. So please.
Wow.
Stop it.
You opened up the Pandora's box, Chef Ivan.
Yeah, well, that's okay too.
I know. We love that. It's we're passionate about it, and we're going to have conversations about how we can eat on the road, soon on our
Eat
shows.
Healthy. Yes,
I know. This thing is to be careful and eat in as many parks as possible. So here's your song today, La Vie de Salut. Okay. This is from Wally Lauder, the singer-songwriter here in Tucson. We met him on our tour in Silver City, New Mexico, and we're very excited because he has new music coming soon. He's working on a new album. It's about time, Wally. So WallyLauder.com is the website to go to. We want to thank the San Benito Bene for sponsoring today's show. Locally inspired products up in Hollister, California. So check them out at sanbenitobene.com. It's an awesome store. Like, local chocolate
You
and
can
olive
browse
oil.
in there for a long time.
Ivan, have you gone olive oil tasting in Temecula yet?
I haven't.
Oh, you must. You'll enjoy it. You've got really good olive oils and stuff coming out of your backyard.
Yes,
it's
and
good
some
stuff.
good wines too. They're doing some good wines up there. Yeah.
So when we come out, you know what we're going to do? You and Tracy got to come out with us because we got to go cover Temecula because it's on the Juan Bautista de Anza National Historic Trail. So I think you should, take a day off and we go wine tasting and olive oil tasting and cheese tasting. You have cheese in Winchester, just up the road.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay.
Why not?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you. Take care. Happy 2019. And
you too, guys.
Take care. Here it is. La vie des saluts.
Okay.
From Wally
Bye-bye.
Lauder. Bye.
Bye.
In the countryside of France, on the road between Paris and Lyon, there's a town in the region of Burgundy, La Région de Bourgogne. There are winding streets and lots of little shops. There always seems to be a buzz in the air. Patisseries, boulangeries, a music that you won't believe, cafes and restaurants everywhere. The town of Souilleux is in the heart of France, on the road between Paris and Lyon, where travelers stop to rest for a while and feel the welcome of those who make it their home. Marie-Françoise runs a little cheese shop, better known as a fromagerie. She's a woman who's the picture of the heart of France. This is what she said to me.
Si vous visitez une fromagerie, vous êtes perdu parce que nous avons tant de choix. Regardez ce fromage de chèvre. Nous avons 20 sortes différentes.
Which is to say, if you visit a cheese shop in France, you are lost because we have so many choices. Look at all this goat cheese. We have over 20 different kinds.
Le saulnerie clair, l'œuvnerie cachette et le chèvre et le fromage et le fromage. Feed le vert.
The soil feeds the grass feeds the goat. From the goat comes the cheese, and the cheese completes the wine. La vie de Souilleux et beaucoup de la France, sur la route entre Paris et Lyon, où les voyageurs s'arrêtent pour se reposer un peu, ils sentirent le cœur de ceux qui l'ont, c'est leur maison.
Nous avons Saint-Éclair et Bleu de Témignon, Camembert et Reblochon. Fruits de Meaux, raclette, roquefort et tomate de Borge, salaire, Beaufort et pomme de roman.
Translation, we have a lot of cheese.
Saulnerie claire,
Soil feeds the grass,
l'œuvnerie cachette
grass
et
feeds
le
the
chèvre et
goat,
le
from the goat
fromage
comes
et
the
le
cheese,
fromage. Feed le vin.
et le fromage complete le vin. In the countryside of France, on the road between Paris